Hey, everybody, it is Maria Boynton. Thank you so much for joining me for yet another edition of Atlanta Up Close. I got to tell you, the person that I'm interviewing today is someone that you see. He comes into your homes every single day by way of the television and by way of social media, too. None other than the one and only Gary Martin Hayes. How are you doing, sir?
Maria, I'm well. Great to see you. Thanks for having me.
Well, certainly it's great. You know, I'd never met you, but I felt like I already knew you, because the number of years that you've been in the business doing what you do and sharing your life and your love for life with us.
Yeah, gosh, it's hard to believe 35 years now I've been a practicing attorney. So you're telling on yourself, so you watch the Jerry Springer show I see during the day.
Well, maybe. Yes, of course. That's when we mostly see what you do and things of that nature. So, you know, I asked this question of you earlier because I wanted to make sure that you were okay with it. Do you actually love what you do, or did you just fall into it and you just, you're just so repetitive with it?
Yeah, no, I love what I do. I really do. I've been doing it, as I said, 35 years now. And the old expression is so true. If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And it's all about helping people. My dad was a Methodist minister for, over 50 years. And he and my mom were all about telling us, go out and try and make a difference in the world. And the way you do that is by helping people. And I couldn't think of a better way to do that than getting a law degree. And I feel like I get a chance to do that every single day.
Everyone, he's Gary Martin Hayes. Where did you get that law degree? Tell us about your upbringing.
Yeah, grew up in a bunch of small towns in South Alabama, Northwest Florida. Attended Emory back in '82, and then went to Mercer for law school. And Georgia's been my home since '82. Love it. We'll never leave it. Great place. And you know, it's all about making sure we're taking care of our neighbors. And the legal practice has allowed me to do that for a very long time.
Once y'all get here, y'all just stay.
That's right. That's right.
It's great to talk to everybody. Gary Martin Hayes, we know him as the Legal Eagle. Gary Martin Hayes, you've done a lot in your career, and we're going to talk about some of that. You've got some best-selling books, things of that nature, and you also started something by the name of Keep Georgia Safe. And you know, and I told Gary this, everybody. I think the name of this interview is going to be called, as it is the title of a book by someone else, Protecting the Gift. Protecting the gift. When you hear that, protecting the gift, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it means trusting your gut. Intuition is a powerful thing that's innate in all of us. And if our gut is telling us something's not right, then that is that sixth sense that we need to be aware of and need to pay attention to protect ourselves and our families.
Okay, everybody. Gary Martin Hayes, we talked about you being a best-selling author. And you have 5 books: The Authority on Personal Injury Claims in Georgia, The Authority on Workers' Compensation Claims in Georgia, The Authority on Inadequate Negligent Security Claims in Georgia, The Authority on Tractor-Trailer Wreck Claims in Georgia, The Authority on Wrongful Death Claims in Georgia. A lot of people hoard the information. They never share it.
Yeah, and I don't think that's right.
Okay.
And it's actually 17 books now that I've authored or co-authored. Yeah, those were particular to Georgia law, but I had a lot of mentors throughout my career. I started out defending insurance companies on the other side. After several years, I switched to represent injured victims and their families. As attorneys, we are in competition to get that client, but whoever that client hires, I, as an attorney, I feel I have a duty to help that attorney if they don't know what they're doing, for the benefit of that client. That client deserves more. So I want to make sure that these attorneys that are out there doing the same kind of work that we are, that don't have the experience and resources that we do, are able to gain that knowledge for the benefit of that client.
And to know that you are mentoring, too.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
It's great. It's great. And anything that we can do to lessen that learning curve, again, for the benefit of the client, I'm all about.
All righty, everyone. He's Gary Martin Hayes. You all know him already. We know you already, Gary. It's great to finally be able to touch you. He is real, everybody. I'm Maria Boynton. Thank you again for listening and watching this edition of Atlanta Up Close. You have membership in the prestigious Multi-Million-Dollar Advocates Forum, a society limited to those attorneys who have received a verdict or settlement of at least $2 million. Talk to us about that big case. What is your most memorable one?
You know, it's not the $22 million verdict that's out there. It's not these amazing settlements. because we can all talk about high dollar verdicts, but the most that mattered to me are, say, the workers' compensation claim, where the insurance company stopped the benefits, the weekly checks that that person, his family was dependent upon, to be able to get those checks reinstated, to know that I made a difference in that family's life. Where, yeah, it may have been $350 a week at the time, but that $350 was putting food on the table, providing shelter for those folks. And it was wrong for the insurance company to stop the benefits, and very gratifying to hear the judge say, y'all can't do that. Those are the ones that impact me. And you know, it's when the people bring the vegetables out of the garden, the cake that they bake, to say thank you. Those are the ones I'll remember most.
Oh, wow. Gary Martin Hayes, good cakes, good vegetables.
That's right.
Fresh.
That's right.
Fresher than fresh. So everybody, Gary Martin Hayes is with us. Thank you so much for being here. We mentioned early on that you founded something called Keep Georgia Safe. Now, what is that?
Yeah, back in 2008, 16 years ago, hard to believe, there are 3 women from Georgia with ties to Georgia that were abducted and murdered. Meredith Emerson from Gwinnett County, she was hiking in the mountains of North Georgia. She was abducted and murdered. Lauren Burke, she was a student at the University of Auburn. She was walking through a school parking lot, was abducted and murdered. Then within the hours, Eve Carson, who was a student at the University of North Carolina from Athens, Georgia, she was abducted from her home and murdered. Those are 3 women with ties to Georgia from Georgia who had their lives cut way too short. And at the time, our 3 daughters were young. That affected me, affected my wife. We wanted to do all we could to protect our daughters. We had them in self-defense classes, which I think is important. But through a mutual friend, I had the chance to meet Lauren Burke's mom. Okay. Vivi Gershon, and she said, no, it's great that they know how to protect themselves, but I think it's more important they know how to avoid ever putting themselves in dangerous situations. And I started looking at that and seeing, what are we doing to teach our kids, to educate our families on how to be safe? And sadly, excuse me, there's not a lot in the way of education out there. I wanted to change that.
And how are you changing it, Gary?
Yeah, proactive through education. Mm-hmm. We have now trained more than 100 law enforcement officers, school teachers, school counselors on the Rad Kids curriculum. That's the nation's leading child safety program that educates kids on how to be safe. Reactive. We were the first organization to put out all 3 of Georgia's text alerts, the safety alerts. Levi's Call, which is Georgia's Amber Alert. In the event a child is abducted or missing, we would put that alert out. Maddie's Call is for elderly and disabled people that go missing. And Kimberly's Call in the event there's a dangerous felon on the loose. And then from a reactive standpoint, we trained over 100 state and local law enforcement officers on what to do in the event a child is abducted. They're called CART teams, which stands for Child Abduction Response Teams.
Okay.
It's not something they teach at the academy, but our law enforcement officers need to know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it in the event a child is abducted. There was a study done that showed 74% of the abducted children that are murdered are killed within the first 3 hours. 44% within the first hour, 40% before law enforcement is ever notified. So we've got to know that our law enforcement officials know what to do, how to pool resources, check the registered sex offenders in the area, put the alerts out, get the dogs. So it's an immediate response.
Crime stats are astounding.
Oh, it's scary.
Georgia, 26th in the nation when it comes to violent crimes. I mean, what do you say to those who say, it's not going to happen to me? It happens to everybody else.
Please do not put your head in the sand. That's I certainly understand the response, but you can't put your head in the sand. People may say it's not going to happen in my neighborhood. The U.S. Department of Justice says there is 1 registered sex offender on average per square mile in the U.S. Or they may say, my kid's too young for that. The average age at which sexual abuse begins is age 3. It's horrible to even think about that, age 3. Or they may say, I don't let my kid around strangers. There was a study that has shown 60% of the boys, 80% of the girls, they knew the abuser or their family knew their abuser. Or they may say, my kid's never going to fall for that lost puppy trick. That only happens 15% of the time. 85% of the time, it's physical force. They're grabbing that kid by the arm saying, come here. And too many times those kids are paralyzed with fear, and they do that.
When we talk about Meredith Emerson, Lauren Burke, Eve Carson, What do you tell those who are watching or listening right now about being safe and not becoming a statistic?
Yeah, and another illustration we have is the young lady, the nursing student
UGA.
at UGA that was out running on a trail on the UGA campus. They were alone.
Yeah.
And so the most important thing for all of us to think about anytime we leave the door of our homes is it's not a safe world. The buddy system doesn't just apply to the pool. Take someone with you if at all possible. There's safety in numbers. Or go to, for example, the young lady that was running. She was on a trail. You need to be in an area that is well lit, that there are a lot of people that are going to be there. Again, safety in numbers, not just those accompanying you, but safety in numbers, that the number of people that are out and about in that area. And be careful about the time that you're out and about. The number one time for attacks for women, in the morning. In parking lots, for example, the number one attack spot, grocery stores. Number two, malls. These are crimes of opportunity. They're looking for the people that are distracted. They aren't paying attention to the surroundings. They have their hands full of packages, or they're looking at their phone. They're not aware. Please be aware.
But we want to also stress it is not the victim's fault.
Not her fault at all in any time we're out and about. We should live in a society where people are going to be safe. But unfortunately, the reality, we're not. We're not. 1.2 million violent crimes in the United States in 2022, which is the last year of the Uniform Crime Reporting stats that we have. So, yeah, it's scary to think about. Don't bury your head in the sand and pretend, hey, it can't happen to me. But also, we can't err on the side of being so overprotective that suit of armor that we're wanting to put our kid in becomes more of a cocoon where they can't function in the real world.
Gary, I just want to take a run. Now, Laken Riley told her friends she was going out for a run. Are you telling me I now need to tell you everywhere that I'm going, where I might run? What do we do?
Great. It would be great to let people know the route, but again, pick an area where you know it's going to be safe. Don't wear the earbuds or the headphones, for example.
Yeah, because you can't hear.
If you're out and about, you're dulling one of your senses.
Right.
So please don't do that.
Okay, everyone. He's Gary Martin Hayes, attorney. He's been in this business. You've been on the ground running now for 35 years.
That's right.
Okay, and you haven't aged today, I want you to know.
You're too
look
kind.
to me the same when I first saw you when I was just 2. Okay, everybody. He's Gary Martin Hayes. So we're talking about assault prevention now. I mean, talking about being careful. Tell folks where you're going. Tell them your route. We've had some tragedies here, and we've lost some members of families that should still be with us, basically.
That's right.
Okay, so Gary, give us some of these assault prevention tips. I know you talk about location. Talk about location.
Yeah, be aware of your surroundings. As I said, parking lots, number one place for these attacks to happen. Walk down the center of the aisle in the parking lot. Yeah, you may have people honking at you. I don't care. You're safely able to go down that walkway where you've got cars on either side, but you're not directly behind a car where you're giving someone the opportunity to grab you. But head on a swivel, head back, shoulders up, put the phone down. You're constantly surveilling the surroundings.
Yeah, because you're easily distracted.
Yeah.
And they know it too.
Again, these are crimes, you're right, crimes of opportunity. They're going to go for that person that doesn't fight back. And God forbid, if this were to happen to someone, if you are grabbed, fight like your life depends on it if you have to. If you could run away, run away. Run away screaming, yelling, though. But if you can't run away, fight back like your life depends on it, because chances are it might, but also make noise. There was a study done by the State Department, the Attorney General for the state of Washington, their department. They looked at 744 abduction attempts across 44 states. They found that 50% of the time the kids that were successful in getting away, they fought back. 90% of the time, they fought back and they made noise. That is something these attackers do not want. They do not want attention brought on themselves. So yell, kick, scream, fight. Let people know you need help, and good Lord willing, somebody's going to come up there and to your aid, and that attacker's going to leave.
Let's say I'm out, Gary. I mean, Is there a certain way I should walk? Should I have a certain posture, perhaps?
Walk with a purpose.
Okay.
Know where you're going. Again, head on a swivel, though you're constantly surveilling the surroundings. Keep your key in your hand. A lot of vehicles now have the key fob versus an actual key. Keep your hand on that emergency, the alarm, so you can press that if you need to.
Okay, everybody. Gary Martin Hayes is here, everybody. We're talking about some assault prevention tips. You might be thinking, it couldn't happen to me. Maybe not you, but it could happen to someone in your family, someone that you love and care about, or your neighbor's child. So Gary Martin Hayes, again, thank you so much for being here today. This is a very important topic. So you say, if I'm attacked, I need to fight back.
Yeah, run if you can. If
Run.
you can't, fight back. Again, anything that you have on you can be used as a weapon. If you have your keys, if you have the key fob, if you have your cell phone, punch. If they're wanting to get your car, throw your keys in the other direction, and then you run in the opposite direction.
I like the good old pencil to the eye kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's important.
Yeah.
And something I want to stress to people, there are no rules
Right.
if you're being attacked. You kick them in the groin, you poke their eyes out. I'd rather taxpayer dollars be spent teaching this attacker, this predator, how to read Braille than you being the next victim on America's Most Wanted.
I like that.
I mean, it's harsh, but I don't care.
Right.
It's about protecting us.
It's about your life.
That's right.
So everyone, we're talking to Gary Martin Hayes. So we talk about using the keys, pencil, cell phone, book bag, purse, mace, or pepper spray, or whistle. Anything that you have available, you use it, and you fight like your life depends on it, because as you said, Gary, it probably does. So you say don't swing at your assailant?
Quick jabs, quick punches, the old roundhouse swing, easy to block. You want to go for the eyes, go for the ears, go for the nose, go for the groin. But as soon as you feel like you've got them disabled, then run. Again, it's all about running first. If you have to fight, make a noise, but as soon as you can get away, do it.
Okay, he's telling me to be quiet. I'm thinking I shouldn't think that if I do what he wants me to do.
Great point. He's telling you to do or what he doesn't want you to do. So you do the opposite. He said,
Okay.
Stay here, don't make noise. We're not going to stay here. Come with me. Don't make noise. He's telling you he doesn't want you to stay there, and he doesn't want attention brought upon himself. So you make noise. The most important thing, I know this is a horrible thought, you do not want to be taken from crime scene number 1, where the initial attack is taking place, to crime scene number 2, where he can do God knows what he wants to with you. Your chances of survival are going to be far greater at the crime scene 1, typically. And you want to stay where you've got the greatest chance of emergency aid being rendered to you. Your chances of survival are going to be much higher in that location than crime scene number 2.
So, Gary, when we talk about, just being safe and things of that nature, this is a passion for you to help families, right?
It is, and I've done so much work with parents who've lost a child. I've done a lot of work with Ed and Elizabeth Smart.
Okay.
Doing what I do, 35 years of seeing wrongful death photos, catastrophic injury photos. I'm helping people after bad things have happened, and very good at what we do. It's not just about the money, but we've recovered more than $1 billion for our clients over the years. But there's more to it. I want to do all I can to prevent these bad things from happening. So we're big on driving safety, teaching teens how to drive safely, what to do, how to avoid wrecks. But it's more than just in the car wreck arena. Safety is a huge, huge thing that we need to be aware of. And so that has become a passion. And it's hard not to be impassioned with its subject once you spent time with these folks that have tragically lost a child. No parent should ever go through that.
We talk about Lake and Raleigh. Okay,
Yeah.
So I have a child who's off at college. What should I be thinking about right now in terms of their safety?
Yeah, I remember when our oldest, she graduated from the University of South Carolina when she was going off to college. Our minds were focused on measuring the windows for curtains and getting the right size dorm refrigerator. Sadly, we need to think about so much more, and we need to have our kids thinking about so much more. This was her first time being off on her own, first time being responsible for her own safety. So we need to tell our kids, again, about the importance of the buddy system. If you're walking along that campus, don't go alone. If you don't feel safe, get one of the officers there that can provide an escort to you. They have safety programs there. Take those courses there, and you can be aware of those areas where you really don't need to be, especially by yourself. With so many kids, they want to put the little magnetic eraser thing on the door that talks about their schedule. Don't publicize where you're going. Let's not do that. Keep the curtains shut. Keep the doors locked. Respect the dorm rules. If somebody's trying to gain access to the dorm and you have rules about, no, you can't let that person in unless accompanied by a fellow dorm resident,
Right.
don't allow them access.
Got to tell you, Gary, I've dated in my life. Yeah, I have. Kind of cute myself. And I have to tell you, I depend a lot on my gut, Gary. A lot on my gut. Even if they take me to a public place, even if I don't feel comfortable, I get the heck out of there.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
I do.
I mean, so how much does trusting your gut matter?
It's a huge sixth sense, as we talk about that. Gavin DeBecker's book, I highly recommend it, people, called Protecting the Gift.
Exactly.
And it talks about the value of your intuition. You don't see the gazelle at the watering hole looking over and thinking, that must be a nice lion. No, they're like, I'm getting out of here because I know this is not right. It's not safe. But yet, too many times we're thinking, I don't know, they could be nice.
Right.
You don't want to wait till that guy's clubbing you over the head trying to take you to another location to come up with a conclusion. No, they're not. If your gut's telling you, then trust your gut.
Yeah, but Gary, I got to tell you, what about if you're not necessarily an aggressive natured person, you're kind of timid, and you're like, they're not going to hurt me. I mean, you all of a sudden have to take on a whole new persona and change your mind because this person is someone you don't know, and they're being a threat to you, right?
Yeah. Again, you've got to empower your kids and empower yourself to all right, come on now. I need to trust my gut. I need to listen to it. But more importantly, I need to act on it. I don't need to rationalize why, well, they may be okay. No. If it's telling you it's not right, the worst thing that can happen by you getting out of there is you've created an uncomfortable situation.
Proactive.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Gary, we talk about being proactive and with the organizations that you created, Rad Kids Training. So tell me about Rad Kids.
Yeah, Rad Kids is the nation's leading child safety course. It's, again, about empowering the kid to be responsible for their safety. It's something that Ed and Elizabeth Smart have been actively promoting out there. Rad Kids teaches three things to kids. One, no one has the right to hurt you, including yourself. Two, in the event somebody tries to hurt you, you have a right to stop them. And third, if somebody hurts you, it's okay to tell. And that third part's an important element for the kids that have been abused sexually. They may feel like they're going to be judged for allowing that person to do that. With our kids, at any time, we need to talk to them about the importance of being open with us, creating that dialogue with a child, letting them know, you can always tell me something, and if I get mad, it's not going to be at you. It's going to be at the person that tried to trick you or tried to hurt you.
And part of the training, too, is, for instance, if they're out and they get lost.
Yeah.
What do you tell them?
Yeah, Rad Kids, again, is about putting power in the kid to act on their own emotions and how they feel about people or being safe proactively themselves when they're out and about. For example, Rad Kids teaches what they call sight, sound, and distance if a kid is out with their parents. Again, you tell your child, you're responsible for being the watcher in this scenario. By that I mean sight, you need to be able to see me and I need to be able to see you. Sound, you need to be able to hear me and I need to be able to hear you, just in ordinary talking without yelling. And distance, you need to be no more than 3 seconds away running to me. Again, you're putting that power in the kid. You're responsible for your safety. I'm there with you. In the event we're separated, find a mom, find a grandmother with kids, because that mom, that grandmother is going to protect that kid as though their own. Tell your child, never leave that store, especially with anyone. Right. You stay where you are. I am great at finding you, and I will find you.
What do you tell a parent about assuring their child that if they do become lost, what should you instill in the child that they know that you're going to be there for them?
Yeah. The importance of being calm and the importance of them knowing that y'all have talked about this particular scenario happening. You know, if it's an older child and you want to give them some room to roam, at least establish a presence or a place where you guys can meet that is within that store. If they've got a cell phone, make sure it's charged, make sure they have it on, so they have immediate access to you that way. But it's something that you can rehearse these different safety scenarios with your child. So they're going to be empowered by knowledge of what to do in the event these unlikely things happen.
Isn't it great for the child to know, too, that mom and dad won't stop looking for them
That's
if
right.
something does happen?
They will know that you will find them regardless of what happens. You stay where you are. I'm going to get you. And I'm going to find you.
All righty.
The predators in these scenarios, especially when they're out and about, they need three things. They need access, cover, and escape. They need to have an ability to get to your child before you can. They need some kind of distraction to be able to take the child in an escape route to get them out of there. Sight, sound, and distance prevents that.
Protecting the gift. Protecting the gift. What do you say to your child, Gary, when it talks about protecting their private areas? That's part of the training too, right?
Yeah, there's a statement a predator made to one of the investigators that says, show me a kid that doesn't know about a good touch, a bad touch, or an unwanted touch, and I'll show you a child that is a perfect victim for a predator. So we need to tell our kids there are three kinds of touches. Good touch, hugs, holding the hands. Bad touch, hitting, slapping. Unwelcome, unwanted touch, or if they're older, you can talk about it in terms of sexual abuse. That's anybody that tries to trick you into showing them areas that are covered by the bathing suit. Again, touching in that area, letting them photograph you in that area, it's all off limits.
What do we know about molesters? I mean, in terms of who are these people? Are they family members? I mean, what do we know?
Getting back to the studies, 60% of the girls or boys rather that are victimized, 80% of the girls that are victimized knew or their family knew that attacker. So the whole concept of a stranger danger, that's not relevant. It's not something we need to teach our kids, because if you ask them who's a stranger, they're going to say, well, it's a guy with a scraggly beard. He smells. He looks like he's not safe. Well, these predators, they want to get into the kids' good graces by acting like the nice guy, the atypical stranger that these kids have envisioned. Somebody has access to the kid. So there's no saying, yeah, keep the strangers at a distance, but keep those close to you even more at a distance or constantly observed.
And so when we say the word stranger now, who are they necessarily?
It's somebody that we don't know. It could be somebody in the neighborhood, somebody we routinely wave to. But unless we know them, they're a stranger.
All righty. So Gary Martin Hayes is here. We want to thank you for the time. Where can people go for more information?
Yeah, this is important information that we want to have readily available to parents. They can go to GaryMartinHayes.com. If they scroll down to the bottom of the page, I have a link to the book that we wrote, The Authority on Child Safety. Okay. It's a free download. It's the #1 best-selling book we wrote back in 2012. I, along with Adam Wirt and Mary Ellen Haid, we wrote it to help parents know how to talk to your kids in a safe environment where the kids are not going to feel threatened. You know, our kids nowadays, they need to be entertained. If they feel like they're being lectured to, they're going to shut down. Again, a great way to talk to them is while you're going to school, you're going to soccer practice, dance recitals or dance rehearsals. In a non-threatening environment, you can give them different scenarios. Find out how they would respond. And then if they make mistakes, you can correct them in that safe environment instead of them making those mistakes in the real world.
How do you get them to listen to you, though, Gary?
Yeah.
I need to know, because now you've got technology, you know, you've got the earbuds, everything to ignore you.
Yeah.
So how do you begin to talk to them about it?
Shot callers, if they don't listen. No, I'm messing with you. No. I know how tough it is.
Yeah.
But it is important for the parents to, please, we need to have a talk. Let's just talk about things. I want to give you a scenario, and I want to see how you're going to respond. For example, ask your kid, hey, what if someone comes up to you and says, I lost my puppy? What are you going to tell them? They may say, oh, Dad, I'm not going to fall for that lost puppy trick. Okay, well, what if they say, I lost my kitten? Let me say, oh, a kitten can't protect himself, so I'm going to help them find that. Oh, no. Let me tell you what we'll do. If somebody comes up to you and says they lost their puppy or they lost their kitten, you come get me. I'm the best puppy finder, the best kitten finder. I'm a professional at it. You come get me, because no parent should ask a kid for help. Parents or adults should ask adults for help. You come ask me to help.
Everyone, it's about safety of your family members, safety of those you love. Gary Martin Hayes, thank you. It's called Keep Georgia Safe. What is the website again for that free download?
Yeah, they can go to GaryMartinHayes.com. At the very bottom of the homepage, you'll see the ability to download the book right then and right there. Please share it with everybody. And thank you. I guess I've spent a lot of time on CNN and other media outlets after something tragic has happened, and talk about how the abduction took place and sadly what happened to the victim. I appreciate the proactive approach to prevent something like this from ever happening.
It is our honor, because we love our community here. And thank you for staying in Georgia, Gary.
Thank you.
Everyone, thank you so much for listening to, watching this edition of Atlanta Up Close. And of course, you can always listen on the Odyssey app. I'm Maria Boynton.